Are you bored of using regular towers? Then you can instead play with the man-child himself. Being the only tower that uses an actual name, how can you make use of John, the creator of TDX? John is pretty simple in the early levels. He just shoots with his pistol. However, it is very cheap and does a good amount of damage at base level. He also gains stun immunity at X2. However, the later upgrades are where things start changing up. At top half, John can now ignore bullet resistance at level 3. And at max level, he completely changes. He gains stealth detection, a much faster fire rate, and an ability that gives every tower around him a 50% damage buff. Unfortunately, he loses his ability to ignore bullet resistance when maxed. For bottom path, John instead becomes shotgunner, but more complex. He can hit multiple enemies at once, and also ignores bullet resistance at level 4.
I'm dead!
At level 5, he of course deals way more damage. But he also gains 2 new abilities. The first ability passively shoots a railgun that deals a lot of damage every few seconds. His second ability, however, actively brings out his faded axe and will taper every single enemy close to John himself, dealing a massive amount of damage. Alrighty, so now let's figure out how we can make use of this enigmatic man-child.
Someone give me a cheeseburger!
John at base level can defend quite well, so you could spam it for the early game. You then want to rush the third upgrades of both paths, as that's when John becomes really powerful. For top path, it can defend quite well in the early game, especially against bullet resistant enemies. You should only get max top half once you have other late game towers around it, and the rage ability should be used in very threatening waves, especially in boss fights. As for bottom path John, it is best used in the mid game. I highly recommend rushing the level 4 upgrade as it is very strong, but it is quite expensive, so you may want a few level 3s if you can't afford level 4. I also recommend placing bottom path Johns close to the path, so that you can use the axe ability at max level. Speaking of which, you should use the axe ability in crowded waves or against tanky slow enemies. Or you can get a lot of bottom path Johns and slaughter every single enemy with his axe. There is a weakness for both top and bottom path Johns, and that is hidden enemies. John unfortunately is blind to hidden enemies unless you get max top path John, so make sure you have other towers with hidden detection. Well, I think I covered everything about John. Hopefully John isn't quirky at night.